Hello, my friend. Welcome to Mindfulness Beginners. My name is Victoria Ewan. Thank you so much for having me in your inbox. I have been a yoga, and mindfulness, and meditation entrepreneur for about 10 years now. I've done lots of different things, just trying to get this beautiful practice into as many people's lives as I can because I know how amazing it can be. So some of the physical benefits of this, it helps relieve stress, which is just sensational. I work with so many people who are highly stressed, and also work with people who have had a cancer diagnosis or are in a family with someone who has had a cancer diagnosis. And we know that stress plays a huge role in cancer, which is just terrible. So if we can relieve this stress from our lives, that is fantastic. Another thing that it does is it calms the heart rate, lowers the blood pressure, it reduces chronic pain, it improves sleep, which is always awesome, and it helps alleviate gastrointestinal difficulties. And I am a walking example of this. I had my first stomach operation when I was 10 months old, and since then, every time I get stressed, I used to end up in hospital and they had to operate again. I've actually had so many operations now that they can't operate anymore, and they told me that I'd just have to come into hospital, get cleaned out, and spend a week on morphine. So I decided I didn't want to live my life that way, and through mindfulness and yoga, I haven't been in hospital. I haven't had a Panadol for my stomach problems in the past 8 years. So I am walking proof that this works. The other benefits of mindfulness, it helps relieve depression, substance abuse, eating disorders, couples conflicts, anxiety disorders, post-traumatic stress syndrome. It has had enormous benefits for people coming back from the war. And it also helps obsessive compulsive disorders. So many reasons to practice mindfulness. So what is mindfulness? There is a lot of confusion about the difference between mindfulness and meditation. So mindfulness is creating a place in your mind when we are witnessing our thoughts. We're fully aware of everything in the present moment as it's actually happening. And we practice this process through meditation. Hence the term mindfulness meditation. So the mind is made to think, it's made to remember, it's made to plan. I just find the brain amazingly fascinating. But we can get caught up in our thoughts, and we can miss moments in time that are really precious. Have you ever been driving and so lost in your thoughts that you can't even remember that you've driven past a turn-off, or as you think, oh my gosh, did I just go through a red light? And even that term, lost in your thoughts, it's interesting. When we spend all day lost in our thoughts, we can't actually remember anything from that day that has happened because our minds are somewhere else, they're lost. And if we spend every moment lost in our thoughts, we get to the end of the year and we wonder where it's gone. We look at our children and they wonder when they grew up and what we've missed. We get to a diagnosis and we wonder why we hadn't noticed our health declining. It's because we aren't living in the present moment. We've lost this ability to be fully present in our lives and in the lives of our loved ones. But the good news is that we can retrain our minds. So I've become a bit of a nerd with neuroplasticity. I just find it amazingly fascinating. So I've done so much research on this that you don't have to unless you choose to. So neurosurgeons have discovered that we can actually retrain our own thoughts. And once we learn how to listen to our thoughts, we can start to recognize which thoughts are useful and which thoughts are actually harming us, or which thoughts are just plain distracting and useless. So, meditation, do we have to sit cross-legged in a loincloth? There's lots of impressions of what meditation can look like. I firmly, personally believe that mindfulness can be practiced anywhere. It can be practiced walking, waiting for the kettle to boil, eating, listening, driving. And when we're doing a mindful meditation, it is best to develop some form of routine. So it is best to find a quiet place without too many disruptions. When my kids were little, it didn't ever happen in my house, so I had to find times that I could take myself away. I often went to the beach to do my mindfulness meditation practices. But we need to find a posture that you're comfortable in, not what you think should be done. So on a chair or a cushion on the floor is fine, but one prerequisite is that you do have a straight spine. Firstly, this allows the nervous system to stay alert, and secondly, you're more likely to actually stay awake. If you do need a nap, have a nap, but that's not having a meditation practice. So I like to close my eyes to stop any external stimulus, but if this makes you feel uncomfortable, you can just lower your gaze down to the floor. This sometimes helps people not fall asleep as well. So, breathing. Our life starts with the breath and it will end with the breath. The ones in between are what really, really matter. And this is where we always start. We always check in to see if we're breathing correctly. And just take as long as you can here. You might even just stay here for the whole practice. That's what I often do. Now there's numerous ways that we can use the breath to anchor our attention. So here's just a few of them. Practicing full diaphragmatic breathing, and I'll send you a link with what diaphragmatic breathing is. Or we can count each breath in and out until you find your thoughts have moved, and then you come back to one. Or you can see how many seconds it takes for you to breathe in and how many seconds it takes for you to breathe out. And then we try to make the inhale and the exhale the same. And after a while, we try to increase the counts by 1 or 2 seconds. And each time the thoughts get led astray, you just gently, with loving attention, come back to the count. So coming back to sitting in a cross-legged position with a loincloth, we often think of people saying, now that is not a necessity when we are practicing meditation. But some people do like to use a word to focus their thoughts on. So when we say Om on an in-out breath, we can feel the vibrations. So have a go at it. You can feel the vibrations in the body, and there's many, many benefits of this, but you may not like to use the Om. You may like to use a simple mantra of in and out. So each time you breathe in, say in, and then each time you breathe out, say out. And say it in your mind, you don't need to say it out loud. Okay, so we've got it. Now what? We do it, and then we do it again, and then we do it again, and then we do it again and again. And if one time doesn't work, you're too distracted, that's absolutely okay. The next day is going to be completely different. It's another day. But I ask you to establish this practice just to suit your own life and do it again. And then one day, when you miss it, you'll see that your day has become more chaotic and stressful. And you'll recognize that bringing mindfulness into your day isn't a luxury, but it is a necessity. So, on that note, I'm going to record for you a body scan and a breathing technique, and there's going to be links in your email. So Shakespeare said, there is nothing is good, either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. So making judgments about our own experiences can often lead us to becoming quite distressed. For example, thoughts like this is horrible or I can't take it anymore are both judgments associated with distress. Practicing mindfulness teaches us to accept more of our experiences without judging it. And this has been shown to help people live more fulfilling lives. So we can't control a lot of the stress in our lives, but we can control how we react to it. So mindfulness is a practice which encourages us to attend to the present moment. And there's really, really good evidence that mindfulness practice can help people cope more effectively with a huge variety of feeling states, such as depression and anxiety that we've mentioned before. All of those physical health benefits, chronic pain and illness. Here's some helpful quotes you might like to remember. If you let cloudy water settle, it will become clear. And if you let your upset mind settle, your course will also become clear. There's a few more that you might like to read. Mindfulness means paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. The non-judgmental observation of the ongoing stream of internal and external stimuli as they arise. Keeping one's consciousness alive to the present reality. And mindfulness is simply the knack of noticing without comment whatever is happening in your present experience. I'll see you in the next one.